Today I'm excited to share one of my favorite crocheted embellishments. This is for my friends who crochet. We're going to make, just in time for Valentine's Day, these adorable crocheted hearts. Hi, I'm Lori with Colorado Threadworks, and today I'm really excited to share this fun, simple, easy project. I love making these hearts. They're just a great use for scrap yarn, they're cheerful, and you can use them in so many fun ways. So let's take a look and get started. We'll start with what you're going to need to make these. All right, let's take a look at the supplies you need. So you're going to want worsted weight cotton yarn. That's my preference. You can use other worsted weight yarn, but I really like the cotton yarn because of the definition that it gives the stitches. When I've used other yarn, it's been kind of a soft or a little more muted shape, so I would definitely recommend cotton yarn. Now, worsted weight yarn is a 4-ply yarn, and a really easy way to find it if you're out shopping is to look for this 4 on the label. That'll tell you that's a medium weight yarn, a worsted weight yarn. And you know, much like yarn with different manufacturers, it's not all created equal. There's always some variables. So let's take a look. I've got 2 worsted weight yarns. Obviously this one is Lily's Sugar and Cream. This is the I Love Cotton yarn, and they're just a little different. The Lily's is a little more coarse, a little thicker. The I Love Cotton yarn is a little thinner, a little smoother. Not a big deal. Just you want to think about this when you're picking hook sizes. So when I use the I Love Cotton yarn or a thinner worsted weight, I'm going to use a G or a 4mm hook. And then with the thicker yarn, I'm going to use an H or a 5mm hook. And you also want to account for your personal tension. I tend to crochet a little loose. I know some people crochet tight, so you'll want to make a few hearts and kind of test that out and see what hook works best for you. But yeah, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and pick the pink. I want you to be able to see the stitches, and it's a fun Valentine's color. All right, so we're going to get started with a slip knot. And a slip knot, I like those because when you pull the tail, that loop size adjusts. All right, I'm going to give myself a little yarn. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and chain 3. We're going to create that center loop. We'll be working in and out of that loop. So I'm going to go into the first stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch. And now I have my little tiny loop. And I want it to be small because I want that center of the heart to be closed. I don't want it too loose. So next we're going to go ahead and chain 4, do a chain 4 post to do that top side of the heart. And then we need to do 4 treble crochets. And if you remember, with a treble crochet, you're going to wrap your yarn around twice. You're going to go into the center. And now you've got 4 loops on there. And then you're going to grab your yarn, go through 2, go through 2, go through 2. Let's do one more of those. Okay, I'm wrapping around twice, going into the center, going through 2, going through 2, going through those final 2. I'm going to do 2 more of those treble crochets. Give myself a little more yarn. Something I like to do too to kind of help me with these tight centers is I like to put my thumbnail right there and keep it open. That can help. All right, these trebles are a little tricky for me sometimes with all the loops. All right. I think I've got 4 of them. All right, we're going to do the bottom half of the heart, and we're going to do double crochets. And with double crochets, if you recall, you just wrap the yarn around the hook once, then you go into the center, you go through 2, and you go through 2. We need to do 4 of those. So there's 2, 3, just double check. Sometimes I get to stitching and I lose count. 4. All right, we got half a heart. It's coming together. So for the point, we're just going to chain 1, and then we're going to mirror the stitches on this other side. So we're going to go do 4 double crochets. Give me a little yarn, make sure it doesn't fall off the table. I don't know about you, but often I have to chase my yarn. All right, I got my 4 double crochets. We're gonna do those 4 final treble crochets. Got 2 more. Yeah, the stitches are filling in nicely. It's probably gonna feel a little tight. And that's okay, you want it to fill in nicely. All right, I got 1 last treble. Let's just double check and count. Yep. All right, and then we're going to finish off with another chain 4 post. Just chain 4. We're going to go into the center. We're going to slip stitch. All right, and there you have it. There's our heart. Now I'm going to go ahead and tie off the yarn. My other yarn's gotten tangled up in there. All right, so I'm going to give myself a long tail so that I can sew this on something later. So I won't weave this in at this point. I'll use that to stitch this onto something. One thing I will do is I'll go ahead and trim off that initial tail, and I usually stitch around mine, so I feel comfortable just kind of stitching it at the source. All right. All right, and there you have it. That's how you make them. All right, now that we've made these adorable hearts, what do you do with them? Well, let me share some of my favorite things I like to do with them. One of the things I really like to do is embellish other crocheted and knitted goods. And here I've got a couple of preemie hats. I like to crochet hats for a hospital in Denver, and occasionally I'll just add a little heart and sew it on. Another thing that I had fun this year making was these gift card envelopes for Valentine's Day. Again, just a little touch on there. And let me know too if you have an interest in the hats or the envelopes. Just drop me a comment and I can do another segment on these, or write a pattern for you too. These are really fun and I'd love to share them. Probably the most simple thing I do with them is just make little clips. And I just take these tiny clothespins. I get them at the dollar store. I've bought them online, and I just hot glue them to the back. And then I use them, to clip on cards, notes. And one of the biggest ways that I use them too, of course, they're always good on chocolate, but one of the biggest ways that I use them is on my quilting customer invoices. And I actually do different types of embellishments, and they have fun collecting those. And when my daughter was little, I used to glue them to her hair barrettes. Now, one thing to consider is if you want to embellish clothing, this may be something you want to avoid. And the reason is that cotton yarn will shrink as you wash it. And I've had other types of yarn shrink as well or compact. So I don't think they're the best embellishments for clothing, but they're great for hats, bags, scarves, anything that you're just not going to wash in a washing machine or you have to launder often. So yeah, that's how I love to use those. All right, I hope you guys had fun learning how to make these. Now remember, there is a free pattern link in the comments so that you can have the instructions yourself. And let me know too how you use these embellishments. I'd love to know. Thank you for joining me today. If you learned something and you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like it and subscribe so we can keep creating together. And I hope you're making something great today. Thank you.